There are a couple different ways that you can make these, which are your center pull balls of yarn. This way I'm about to show you is kind of a half step between making the cat ball and actually making these. You can do it with or without tools. These I did all with a tool, but in case you don't have any tools, I'm going to show you this one that I learned actually not too long ago, which is, you go ahead and you take your string, your yarn, and you're just going to let it lay over your hand like that, and you're going to go, you can go front to back or back to front. That's kind of up to you, and you actually do it a couple different ways. You can either hold it fairly tight with that, like that, with your thumb against your hand, and go around your pinky, and again back to front, and then you'll have a pretty big core once you actually get that built up. And the other way is to get this started is to actually hold it and do like you're actually pointing, and go around your pointer finger and thumb, and then again back to front. And this is the way I'm going to go ahead and continue doing this. And so you're just going to do back to front, making little figure eights. And see how it wraps up, like making an 8 around your thumb and first finger. You're going to do that a few times, and then once you get to a fairly good core bit, you're going to go ahead and pull that off, both your thumb and your finger. You're going to make sure to keep your beginning tail loose and out of the way. You're just going to pinch that where you crossed over, pinch that together, and maybe actually hold the part that you're going to start wrapping, and then just start wrapping around the middle. And then just after a couple wraps, it does kind of look like a little bow, kind of like the beginning of doing the cat ball. And all you're going to do is basically the same thing, and just keep going around that center, maybe a little bit more to the sides, just to get started. But you're going to want to concentrate on the actual middle and start building that up to look a little bit like a ball. Got a little tangle. And you'll see after just a little bit, after a few wraps, it'll actually kind of start looking like a little piece of candy. Now, oh, and I forgot to mention that first little bit, doing the figure eights, I believe the term is called making a fish. So, like I said, we'll just keep on wrapping until it seems like we almost can't wrap anymore around that very middle, and then we're just kind of turn it about 45 degrees and start wrapping that way. And just start slowly turning and wrapping, holding it about 45 degrees. And you can see it is definitely starting to look more like a ball. And then you're just going to keep working and turning and wrapping trying to keep your angle about the same all the way around, and then you'll eventually cover up these two little ends, I guess the two tails of your fish. And pretty soon you won't be able to hold on to the one. You'll end up, like I said, covering up both ends. But I'm going to go ahead and start holding it around the actual ball. And still remember, keep that beginning tail loose. And trying to, whoops, that will occasionally happen. Try keeping it at that about a 45-degree angle, and just keep wrapping it and turning it. Sometimes it's a little easier to just do a couple wraps and then do a slight turn or twist, and sometimes it's easier just to do them both at the same time. Just kind of depends on, you know, how much practice you have at doing this. Okay, and like I said, just keep turning and wrapping at about that 45-degree angle. Sometimes you may find it a little easier to go ahead and do it, wrap it end to end, especially if you have a lot of material to wrap. And also, you will be eventually covering up those two ends, but as long as you keep your tail out, it won't be any problem, because this is the part that will be your working end by the time you get done with this. I'm just going to keep working. Still have quite a bit of material to get going, but I'm just going to show you real quick how to finish this off in case you did come to the end of your string, your yarn. What you're going to do is you're just going to, if you were to actually at the end, I would say go ahead and wrap it all the way around and then follow where the actual end is. I'll explain this a little bit also while using the tool, because this finishing part is basically the same between this and using a tool. But yeah, I would follow that and then maybe unwrap it 2 or 3 times, and then make sure that you can get at least 3 wraps right around the center. And then what you're going to want to do is take, you know, whether it's the hook that you're using at that time or an extra one that you have, and you're just going to grab it and pull it, kind of make like a little slip knot. And if this was the very end, I'll also show this again. You want to go ahead and wrap it 2 times so that it's fairly secure. And like I said, if this was the actual end, it would look more like this one. Or I'll even undo this one just a little bit. Be wrapping it around those last couple times, and then going under those last few wraps, pulling your tail once and then twice, and then maybe give it an extra little tug just to keep it snug, and that would finish that off. Now if you think that this isn't going to work, I'll just show you real quick. Again, you can still, on this one you can still see the tails there, but what will happen is obviously this one got covered up a little bit, but this will be a decent center pull, because once you start working. It may take a little extra to get it started, but it will come out and eventually come really easy. And then about there is where it almost looks like doing it straight with a tool, but by then you won't have noticed because you'll have already worked all that. And that's the first way to do a center pull.